And one of this is that it is safe to be awake. There's no evidence whatsoever that wakefulness as a state of mind has any harmful effects. So this is one of these truths. It is safe to be awake. Being awake is not dangerous. Another one is that we will always sleep. Some come across this as the expression sleep drive will always win, which I don't use that often because it implies that there's some kind of struggle, like, the win or lose, that type of thinking. But I think this is truth. We will always sleep. After a certain amount of wakefulness, sleep will follow, even if we don't perceive it as sleep. It does happen. I think this is a truth. We will always sleep. And similarly to the one we talked about before, thoughts and emotions can't hurt us. Anxiety cannot hurt us. Thoughts cannot hurt us. This is truth. And now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because when you learn these truths, or we learn of them, you may at some level, like somehow cognitively, at least in the aware, to the extent that you have like access to your thoughts, your cognitive level, you can see that this is true. I believe this is true, but part of my brain doesn't seem to believe it. Like there's still anxiety around this, like subconsciously, this has not become truth in like kind of my entire mind or my entire brain, if you will. And this is what leads to this kind of question, like, how do I internalize these truths? How do I make my brain fully see this? And this leads us to like our B section, which is like the intent is really what matters. So the thing here is that if we try to like use these truths in an effort to convince our anxious brain forcefully, well, this just creates more anxiety. And this is the tricky thing, because these are true, but we cannot force the brain to believe this. And I think it can really help to see that it's the same if we think of it as two people. Like you have an opinion, let's say political opinion, because those are often very polarizing, and your friend has a different political opinion. Have you ever tried to convince your friend of your opinion? You see that that's going to create the opposite. The other person is going to be like feel so pressured and so attacked, frankly, that they're going to be like, no way, they're going to push back, and their ideas are going to be more entrenched, if anything, right? So whenever we try to convince somebody else or ourselves forcefully, the opposite happens. So when our brain is kind of anxious and it doesn't believe these truths fully, then trying to like forcefully make it believe that is just going to do the opposite. It's just going to create more anxiety, more fear, etc. So intent really matters. Using the truth to convince an anxious brain forcefully creates more anxiety.